So we started with this attention points app for us, and it solved tons of tension. It was great. And then we had more tensions, new tensions, as happens when you solve tensions. In this case, it was the attention allocation app really helped us put a focus on how much time we wanted to spend in one area versus another of the business, which was really important. But there was still the question of how do we decide, right, where we are going to spend time? It's very, whenever you have to say we in something, there's a red flag there, right? So we wanted to figure out, how can we do that better? Because what was happening, it was falling to me as our broadest circle lead link to figure out exactly how we should break down the time and attention. I don't have enough omniscience to figure that out at the level of accuracy that I wanted, right? Even in a 20-person company, it's just too complex. So I wanted to allow some kind of market-based system to figure out what projects were most worthy of time and attention. Because I can't get it right all the time. Might have been better than nothing, but I think we can do a lot better than even a really wise, seasoned leader trying to break down the time and attention. Just like we have in a market. That's what a price system is in a market. It's an algorithm that allows us to discover how do we want to divide out the resources. Ultimately, what that does is tell us how much of our societal resources should we spend, digging coal out of the ground versus growing crops versus anything else, right? And no one person has to figure that equation out. It's an emergent self-organizing system to get there. So we evolved our attention point apps. We then adopted this policy. Thank you. It worked. Great. This policy, this is our attention allocation app, which used to be based on these attention points that were broken down. Now we renamed the points just to avoid confusion. I'm not sure that actually avoided confusion, but we called them impact points, and they're arrived at differently. So instead of them coming in from the top and getting broken down to dictate how much attention to what, right? Instead, you can see here, once each month's financials are published, so the financials for our business, any business line owner role gets 1 impact point for every $100 in net profit, excluding partner salaries, basically, excluding compensation. So if we ignore any money paid for the people time, right, and just subtract off the direct costs of your business line, what is the net profit before salary of your business? And the business line owner role means whatever role fully contains the delivery of a business line, which is often a circle, not a role. Right? So, for example, we have a training business circle. There are a lot of roles in there that do delivery, but the training business circle as a whole fully contains the business line of training, so the circle gets 1 impact point for every $100 in monthly net profit. So this starts the control of the resources with the role or circle that is actually generating value in the market. And the point of that is, that's our feedback loop, right? That's what clients are willing to pay us for with their hard-won money for valuable services. So it makes sure that internally the control of attention starts with what we're doing that is valuable to people in our market, to our customers, right? And then from there, we can spend impact points just like you would a resource, like a budget or cash, right? They follow the same rules of allocating budget. So however you would allocate a circle budget, you can allocate impact points as if it were a circle budget. If your role has control of a sum of impact points, you can spend them just like you would a cash budget if you controlled it. But the way you spend them is internal to the organization. And there are 2 ways you can spend impact points. One of them is to fund bounties on projects. The other is bounties on role assignments, right? So we realized after we wrote this policy, there was no way we were going to get this enacted without software support. We tried. I actually drafted this policy thinking I would do this in Excel, and I started building out the Excel models, and it was a nightmare.
Like, no way. Similar to the last story. Like,
yeah.
No way we're going to be able to use it.
I think pretty much Lex came to me and said, this is terrible. Why don't we just put Lewis on this for a week and see what he does, right? So yeah, let's look at the second tab, scoreboard. It worked, yay. Okay, so zoom out a bit so we can see that screen. And jump in, Lex, if you have anything to add here at any point. This is one of the screens. So this is my screen, my personal screen as a member of a little fake company. Remember Hygean? This is our little demo company. So I'm the trainer in Hygean now, as well as our consulting delivery and some other roles. And I can see that's a monthly role assignment bounty I get. So what this is, somebody has set up, here are all of the bounties for role assignments. If you fill this role, at least to whatever minimum level the role needs, then you get 500 points for that role, 1,200 points for the trainer role, right? These are the points you're getting every month for filling the role. And I have other available bounties I can see. So I can start doing an assessment, right? Training operations would give me 300 impact points a month, right? Is that more or less valuable than consulting delivery, right? It's not enough to just know that the points are different. I have to actually think, how much time will it take me to fill that role? And I get to assess that for myself. So the game then, maximize the amount of impact points I can collect each month. Right? That's my goal. Maximize the amount of impact points I can collect. And what that lets me do is go shop around all different circles and see who's offering what bounties for what role assignments. Or it could be somebody offers very little bounty for a role assignment, but instead offers bounties for projects and says, hey, you know, these projects, I don't care how long it takes. If it is finished, I'll pay this many impact points. And then I can start doing my own assessment. You know, should I maybe take a few less role assignments and really ramp up doing some of these projects? And then I can take those bounties and I can spend them. The balance is how much, ignore that second line, that's a detail I won't go into, but the balance is how much I have left right now for this month. So I got 500 impact points for filling consulting delivery, but I spent some of them. So I'm down to 300 this month. So I'm only collecting 300 because I gave 200 to another role to fund something I needed to do my role better. So another example, trainer there, I got 1,200 impact points for filling trainer, but I've spent 200 already. If you flip to the next tab, give points, right? I can see another interface here. As trainer, I gave points to training design. I just gave them 500 points actually, right? So I'm funding from trainer to training design. I'm funding because I want somebody in that role doing things, and the role's not getting enough attention because the lead link's like, I don't care about training designs. I just care we're delivering trainings to our market. But as trainer, I want better design so I can fund it. And if I'm very happy with our current training design, I can ramp down the funding of that, right? And I'm not the only one funding it. Other roles can fund that as well. So you can kind of shop around and get funding from lots of different sources. And if I go to my projects here, right, this is just the My Project screen in Glassrog. It's not in here yet, but I'd be able to see then the bounties on projects in here. So I can then see which projects have the highest bounty on them to get done. And finally, I can also set up role assignment bounties. This is a screen a lead link would use likely, right? To say, hey, from general company circle, here are all the roles, and here's the bounties I want in those roles on a monthly basis for filling the roles. But again, that's just the start. Then those roles, somebody can fill them and say, yeah, but of my bounty, I want to distribute out some of it to these other roles to get stuff done. Right? Like as lead link of our general circle, I might give our marketing circle no impact points at all. I might let the other business units do that. Right? If a business unit wants marketing, great. They can fund marketing with the impact points they're getting into their circle. So what it allows us to do is no one person can have to worry about figuring out where we should spend time and the priorities. Instead, we just kind of let the market sort it out. I can go to a colleague and say, hey, can you devote some time to this? And they say, no, I'm really busy. I say, what if I give you 200 impact points? And they say, no, you know, I'm getting 300 right now for that same chunk of time doing another role. I say, okay, great. Well, fine, I'll make it 400 impact points. It's really worth it. Right? In the same way that you go to the local market and you find, oh, you know, peppers are out of season. You know, they're being voted in from Chile, so they're $7 a pound. Do you really want peppers? Or do you want to maybe go down to some nice good old lettuce or something, right? You get to make that assessment based on the relative worth to you, given all conditions and all factors. And based on that, the grocer gets to decide, should I buy more peppers to restock them, or should I buy more lettuce or something else?
One of the things that I like about what the system can do is then you can look at everything across the board and see what's prioritized. So to give you a chance to kind of, I don't know, I think it was kind of what, I think we're still in the early stages, but I think what this does is sort of your integrative decision making for your operational piece, where you can kind of add, and I think we're seeing some of that with the attention points, but the impact points can give us a way to prioritize projects across the organization and be able to see and have every role kind of feed into that. I think that's one of the things that I think is exciting about that. I don't know if you're going to go into that or not, but
oh, that's awesome.
Not to grab the
that's awesome.
Grab the mic.
Just to add, so for example, right now as GCC lead link, I get asked often by somebody, Which of these 4 projects is most valuable for the organization? And the honest answer is, I don't know. I mean, I'm in the habit of giving answers to questions like that from years of CEO experience. So I can come up with an answer, and it might be better than a guess, but a little, right? Now I can say, I genuinely don't know, right? But the system knows. There's intelligence in the system because we know all of these roles that have a stake in those projects have funded them with some of their impact points. And that tells us something. And then the person filling the role can factor in how much time and energy will these projects take me to do, right? Because if I can get 2 done for the span of time that another one would take me all of, then I can get 2 bounties collected instead of 1. What are the bounties?
Some of the challenges with.
I think we're out of time.
Oh, are we? Okay.
So why don't we stop it there? But one last comment. If anyone's interested in experimenting with this is way alpha, like the whole app is. But we are signing up in the Frog Tank, which is some room out there, I think. We are signing up alpha testers who want to play with this app in Glassfrog and impact points as a system. So if you're interested in really experimenting with that and giving us feedback and getting access to the app here, please sign up for the alpha over in the Frog Tank outside.
Who controls the volume of points? So who's the bank?
Yeah, so the first line of defense is any profitable business line is getting impact points tied to the profit they're generating, right? So, which is where it starts. Then the broadest circle has the option to inflate the currency, right? To basically say, I'm going to make money out of nowhere. I'm going to print new cash, which deflates the value of what we're delivering in the services. So there's some economic interesting consequences there, but it also lets you have visibility into how much is that happening. Because if we're really inflating the value of that, we're distancing ourselves from what's actually valuable to our customers. And sometimes that's important for strategic investments, but we should limit it. So we can measure that as a metric in the system.
How do you manage new business line? How do you create new business line?
Exactly through that. We inflate the currency, create a new balance out of nowhere, and fund it. And we're just really cautious with that because we're guessing at what the market really wants at that point, what our clients want, our customers want.
How does this coexist with budgeting processes?
So if you're talking about time budgeting, it doesn't. It totally replaces it. If you're talking about cash budgeting, it's entirely different. This is purely with how you spend your attention, your time and energy. At least as far as I've thought it through, or as we hold it. But it's designed to be a complete replacement. Part of that policy that I started with said this replaces lead link prioritization authority. So this, instead of a lead link being able to say this is more important than that, this replaces it. It is driven by impact points. If a lead link wants to reprioritize something, they need to go get the impact points and fund it to make it enough higher to get somebody's attention. So this is a replacement for a top-down lead link driven attention allocation with an emergent self-organizing bottom-up, not bottom-up's even the wrong word, self-organizing emergent system. And it might be a total disaster in practice. I have no idea. This is really early. We're experimenting with this.
How do you motivate people to maximize the points? Do you have some kind of reward or?
Very intentionally not. Right? How do you motivate people to want to score well in a board game they're playing? Right? You don't. The game is the motivation. It's fun, right? Yeah, no. I mean, you could theoretically tie it to compensation. I just think that would be a really bad idea. Prioritize attention to maximize impact as measured by the number of impact points you earn.
Last one, Adam, and then we move on to delivery. Okay. You mentioned that there is separate role funding and project funding. This is kind of separates what role maybe maintenance work and maybe improvement work. They wonder what's the thinking behind that. Projects need contribution from multiple roles and people, and how does this whole thing work? And this seems like an interesting shift from just role focused work.
Yes, it is. I share your interest in that shift. I don't know. It is very much along the lines you're intuiting. There's some work that is more naturally just maintenance, like the role requires this general same amount of work all the time. And then there are other roles that are more naturally project focused, like trainer, right? It takes zero effort for me other than when I go deliver a training, and then it takes a massive amount of focus and effort for that week. So that would be one that's probably better to prioritize on a project basis, and it lets us answer a hard question, which we get. We have internal competition right now for my attention. Do we book me in a training? Do we book me in consulting delivery? Do we book me in a speaking engagement somewhere? Or do I save my time for internal work on things like this, right? And I don't know the answer to that. So it lets me say some roles are going to be maintenance work. Let's figure out the ones that just require a recurring amount of time every month. Some roles are going to take big chunks, and let's fund those through more projects. It opens the door to what if multiple people are involved in a project? Can we then divide out and share the impact? I don't know. Maybe. I think that'd be really cool. So that's the kind of stuff we want to experiment with.
Thank you very much for sharing it.
Yeah, thank you. Absolutely.